Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what is happening, what we can expect moving into the rest of the week. Don't forget tomorrow, the market is completely closed for Christmas, holidays, etc. And today the market obviously closed early. So yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll give you my thoughts moving forward. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. Tesla with an absolutely phenomenal day, closing at 8% up for the day, closing at $465 per share, which compared to the market is going to be definitely a little bit of an outperformance, right? As Tesla just continues to be, pretty volatile within this kind of range that it's trading in, right? But I use the word range here specifically. So I'll go over my thoughts, right? So again, we're in a bit of a complicated situation here for a pretty simple reason. So, again, let's remove the Bollinger Bands for now. So the way you want to look at it is ultimately, oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, I do share my thoughts, my technical analysis, etc. Every day the market is open, my charts. For just $3 a month in my YouTube membership, link is below, or for $5, you get access to everything I just said, plus NVIDIA daily updates. But anyway, jumping into it. So the thing with Tesla here is, when we were near the bottom of the channel, right? When we were like right around here, it was more easy, in my opinion. Why? Because, simply the risk reward is just good, number one, because you're at major support and, well, you're also at major support, right? Bottom of the channel, 415, etc. Much easier, area to more confidently be like, hey, this is probably a pretty damn good spot for, a bounce, right? If there's a spot to bounce, we're pretty much right at it. And that's pretty much what I was saying those 2 days, right? 415, 415, 415, bottom channel, bottom channel, bottom channel, right? I kept saying that. Now, the fact that we did obviously bounce from there, very handsomely, I would add, 8%. I actually did take profit on my shares that I bought. Remember, I mentioned yesterday. I did take profit on it. Because we're in a situation now where it's a little bit less convincing in either direction. I generally don't know exactly where it wants to go next. And the reason for that is because we're pretty much now, once again, right in the dead smack middle of the channel, right? We're pretty far away from a massive resistance, but we're also decently far away now from a, massive support, really. So that's why when we're in the middle of these kind of channels, I'm not super confident. Now, we did reclaim the 460s, which is good. That area did provide some decent resistances, but the issue is 460, again, it's not like 460 exactly, low to mid 460s, which we're pretty much at right now, because I should honestly redraw this. It's not as accurate as it could be. All right, but because, you can argue the fact that this whole range right here was resistance, right? So let me go back here over here. You can see, right, resistance here and support here. And then we had a massive candle that flushed us through, and now we're entering potentially back into it as resistance. So this is why I'm still not super convinced about this area just yet. I'm not super convinced about the 500s just yet. There are still some signs where, honestly, to make it, I probably should have said 470. I think 470 is a little bit more accurate, but like pretty much reclaiming the 460s in general is what I want to see. Because again, just based on how I showed you just now on the 1 hour chart, just not that long ago, really, right? So that's why ultimately I don't have, again, when we were down here, I was more confident. When we were up here, I was more confident. Well, we're kind of like in the middle here. It literally can go either way. Like, in all honesty, it could absolutely can go either way, right? And, the indicators are still giving mixed signals. The MACD just flipped back to being bullish, though obviously not very convincingly. It's the smallest flip back to being bullish in existence. And it's still all the way, up here, essentially. It's still very overbought, if you will. And the stochastic, the interesting thing about the stochastic is a pretty powerful one with the settings I have, where despite us rocketing up, even yesterday, arguably, right? But especially today, the stochastic, this thing is just going down. It's just continuing to just keep going down and down and down and down. And it's not even showing signs of going up. It's not even curling up, nothing. It's just pointing pretty much straight down, despite today's 8% movement to the upside. So, I'm seeing these kind of situations or things, if you will, these indicators unfolding like this, and I'm kind of like, I'm not confident in either direction, to be completely frank with you, right? I'm not very confident in either direction. Now, if we can essentially reclaim 470, 460s to really 470, then we can really start talking about moving up even higher. But, at that point, then I'd also want to see, the previous all-time highs reclaimed, which was somewhere around closer to 490 even. So this is one of those situations, again, it's just, there's really no other way to, what's going on? There's really no other way to put it other than, it can really go either way. Now, obviously, if I see it sell off again, if I see Tesla come back down to the bottom of the channel, this time closer to the 430s to the high 420s, okay, that becomes, a much more interesting risk reward scenario. It's a little bit more obvious, in my opinion, as to what can happen. And if it doesn't, you're not risking as much, of course, as opposed to if you buy here where, it's 50-50. It really feels 50-50. So it's difficult to say right now. Obviously, we also had that very bearish, like super duper bearish looking weekly candle last week. So far, there's still obviously 2 more days, Thursday, Friday. So far, we're completely negating this bearish candle. If somehow this week ends red, I don't know if it will, of course, but if somehow Tesla sells off and it ends the week pretty much below 420 to 415, that'll be very bearish. That'll be actually arguably extremely bearish. And at that point, I think 360s is without a question going to happen. So watch for that moving forward. So yeah, I wish I had better information. I honestly wish I can, give you a better analysis in terms of like more confidence in a direction. I generally don't have anything, right? The bands are pretty much right in the middle on the 4-hour and the daily. The 1 hour is obviously a little bit overbought. You can see on those the Bollinger Bands here, right? Or bring on my other bands. You can see, it is a little bit on the overbought side short term. So keep that in mind. Short term, we're approaching massive resistance and overbought on the bands. But the daily on the bands, it's my bands are still showing that it is a little bit in the overbought section for the most part. And again, when I see these kind of things, when I see these bands tell me these kind of things, especially on the weekly, if I go to the weekly, I mean, this thing is still extremely overbought on the weekly. I'm pretty sure even the Bollinger Bands are showing it. Yeah, even the Bollinger Bands are showing it extremely overbought on the weekly. So that's why I took my profit again. I took my profit. It is what it is. I like the, if I can get like 10% in pretty much a day and a half, I will absolutely take that. That is no doubt in my mind. I will, gladly accept that 10%. So again, I wish I had better information. I wish I can tell you something more confident, but I don't have anything right now. I don't know. I don't really have any confidence in this movement. If I see again move back down to 430, maybe even 425, to the bottom of this channel, okay, back to the cloud, okay. Now I'm a little more confident, or in the very least, again, you're risking less. But up here, it's anyone's guess, in my opinion. It's generally anyone's guess. Now, if we can reclaim 470s, then I think we can come back up to retest all-time highs closer to 490s. And if we can break above 490, then I think we can go up to the 500s easily. But those are still ifs. Those are massive ifs. Nothing is showing that. I mean, nothing is showing Tesla's topped here. Nothing is showing Tesla on the daily chart, at least, that, it wants to move down. Nothing is showing that it has to move down. There's no obvious top signals other than the 1 hour chart I showed you where it's, it's a little overextended, especially entering this resistance zone. But there's no obvious signals. So again, it is what it is, right? Sometimes I'll have, more confidence, and sometimes, if we're presented with a situation like this where it feels like we're just kind of in limbo land and it genuinely can go either direction, hard to say. In terms of options flow, the bulls are still dominating the bears. The bulls are definitely still stepping in on Tesla. They're not done with this thing yet. I think a lot of call buying is happening into January of this year. So clearly the bulls want to see this thing move forward even further, but let's see if these, key points that I just mentioned allow us to or not, as we of course do enter some area of supply and resistance around, in the 460s essentially. So let's see how this plays out moving forward. I think my biggest red flag right now for the most part is the stochastic that is just not believing in this rally whatsoever, and despite an 8% day, straight down. That is one thing I'm not, it's giving me second thoughts about this, right? It's giving me, when I see these kind of things, because notice before, right, just as an example, right, notice when we were even going sideways here, stochastic didn't really point straight down. It just kind of went sideways. And then we rocketed up, and this thing actually did move up a bit, right? It didn't, do what it's doing now. And now, it's rocketing up these past 2 days, and especially today, and no signs of moving upwards at all on the stochastic. So not a fan of that. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of that. So let's see. But again, we need to see how I need more information to give a better idea up to where, as to where I think it's going to go, plain and simple. So yeah, that's all I got for you, unfortunately. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday. Peace.